part 4. If you haven't seen part 3, 2, or 1, check the description. It's all in there. Part 3, 2, and 1. This is part 4. If you want to see part 5, check the description also. Or part 6. Description. Now we see Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn is sitting in his penthouse. He's like moving his fingers like this. And he's sitting there. And he has this blank stare. And then he begins to tear up a little bit. And then he reaches for his phone. And he calls Brigitte Ratha. It's ringing. It's ringing. It's ringing. It's ringing. It's ringing. No answer. Hi, you reach Brigitte Ratha. Blah, 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 blah. No answer. Harry hangs up. He gets into his car. It's like a Porsche. It's a really nice sports car. He gets to his car and is driving to Oscorp. He gets to Oscorp. There's a security guard outside. He throws him the keys. Hey, can you park this around back or something or do something with it? I don't know. And the security guard's like, sir, what are you talking about? There is no valet. He's like, thank you. And Harry walks straight in to Oscorp. There's his desk, and the person sitting at the desk, he's like, hi, I'm here to see Norman Osborn. And she looks at him. Norman Osborn, sir? What? She's like, I'm here to see Norman Osborn. And she's like, and he's like, Norman Osborn is my father, and I do know that he's here. And she's like, Norman Osborn's your father? He's like, yes, I'm Harry Osborn. She's like, you're Harry Osborn? He's like, yes. Now, I would like to see my father. Now. She's like, one moment, Mr. Osborn. She gets on the phone. She's talking to someone. He doesn't know who it is. And then they say, okay, Mr. Osborn, these two gentlemen are going to escort you upstairs. And so he's like, okay. And it's two security guards, two Oscorp security guards. So then they escort him to the elevator. They get on the elevator, and Harry looks at him. He says, well, how much do you guys make per hour? And like, Mr. Osborn, we make about $27 an hour. He's like, oh, okay. Duly noted. And like, okay. So then they get off the elevator, and then they're in the same area where Max Dillon was when he was waiting. He goes up to the counter. The same woman is there. And Harry, he looks at her, and she catches his eye. He's like, how you doing? But he doesn't say that. So he's like, I'm here to see my father. She's like, Mr. Osborn, you can take a seat right there. He's like, okay. And he starts flirting with her, like he starts talking to her and stuff like that, talking about her eyes. He's like, you have wonderful, you have really pretty eyes. She's like, oh, thank you. And they're talking, he's flirting with her and stuff. And while he's flirting, Donald Lincoln comes over, Harry! And Harry looks at him, he's like, I'm here to see my father. And Donald Lincoln looks at him like, you didn't hear? And he's like, hear what? He's like, your father's in the hospital, Harry. And then Harry, he begins tearing up. He's like, what? I just talked to him. They said he was here, and I said he should be working. Why is he at the hospital? Why didn't anyone contact me? And Donald Lincoln is like, calm down, Harry. I can give you the hospital. And he tells him the name of the hospital. And Harry turns straight around. He turns straight around, a complete 180. Gets straight on that elevator. Goes down. He doesn't even say any word. After he says the name of Donald Lincoln says the name of the hospital, Harry turns straight around, goes straight towards that elevator. He's tearing up. His eyes are red. He's tearing up. He walks straight out the building. The security guard's sitting there going, what? He snatches the keys out of the security guard's hand, and he gets in his car, floors it to the hospital. Gets to the hospital. Gets out of his car. I mean, he is storming. He goes to the front desk. The woman is sitting there. She's a nurse. He's like, I'm here to see Norman Osborn. And his voice is kind of cracky because he's kind of sad. And she's like, Norman Osborn? Excuse me? He's like, I'm here to see my father, Norman Osborn. I'm Harry Osborn, his son. And she looks at him very confused with this, like, what are you talking about? She says that. What are you talking about? He's like, my father is here. He's in critical condition. I'm here to see him. I need to see my dad. And she's like, sir, there is Norman Osborn isn't here. And he's like, what? Norman Osborn isn't here, sir. And he becomes angry. He slams on his desk. What do you mean he isn't here? And she's like, I'm going to have to ask you to calm down. Norman Osborn isn't here. Sir, please. He gets angry. He is furious. And he's like eyes are tearing up. He's like, my father, I was told he's here. And then the security guard comes over and he's like, excuse me, sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to step out. And he looks at and Harry looks at him with this like this face like anger and sadness and so much. And Harry, he with every fiber of his being wants to hit. He looks like he's about to hit the hell out of the security guard. His fists are clenched like this, like he is about to let loose on this guy. Harry looks at him and he tugs off of him and he leaves the hospital, gets straight in his car and sits there. And he pulls out his phone and he calls Dr. Donald Mencken. No answer. He calls Dr. Ratha. No answer. He begins to cry. It's a silent cry though. It's just tears coming down. And then he looks over at his glove compartment. And he does this really big sniff like when someone's crying when they're done. He's like... and he does that. And he looks at the glove compartment and his face begins to go back to normal. Like kind of a normal... Like it's not anymore like a... It's like now of like a kind of going back to normal, reverting. And he's looking at the glove compartment. The glove compartment's looking at, like the camera shifts over to the glove compartment and it comes back to him. And then, end scene. The scene ends. And we're with Peter and Eddie. And they're talking. They're in this dojo. They're in the dojo where Eddie trains at, right? And they're talking and stuff. And they're, oh man, they look like brothers. They look like brothers. And Peter and Eddie, they're just talking and stuff. And Eddie's like, yeah, man, you know, they call me the Viper. And Peter's like, is that so? He's like, yeah, you want to find out why they call me the Viper? Come in, step in the ring. And it's like an octagon. Like, think of the UFC. I only say I know UFC is not the only one that has the octagon. You know, I say UFC because that is the most popular form of competitive mixed martial arts fighting. That's why I say UFC, okay? Because I know some people are like, yes, he's not the UFC. Yes, I know. Okay, so they get into, so Eddie's like, come on, get into the ring. And Peter's like, nah, man, I'm all right. He's like, come on, you look like you need some training or something. Come on, man, come here. I want to see how you throw a punch. Come on. And Peter's like, nah, man, I don't want to hurt you. Eddie's like, hurt me? Listen here, small fry. Come see. Let me see if you can hurt me. Come on. And Peter's like, all right. Gets to the ring. Eddie takes off his shirt. He had on like this Under Armour shirt on. He was already wearing shorts. Not short shorts, but they were shorts. And I was like, okay, all right. Throw a punch. And Eddie grabs one of the punching hand things. It's like a, I forgot what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about when you punch into it. So he's like, throw a punch. And Peter's like, throw a punch, man. Nah, I don't. He's like, throw a punch. He's like, come on, Parker. Come on, small fry. And he sounds kind of like Flash. Come on, Parker. Come on, small fry. But it's a very, jokingly brotherly thing. And Peter's like, all right. And then we hear Peter in his head, you want me to throw a punch? And I throw a baby punch. And then Peter, he throws like a just complete, I don't know what that is. And he does that. And Eddie's like, what the hell was that? No, listen, let me show you how you throw a punch. And he gives Peter the thing. He's like, and throws a really good, like that. And it's like, oh man, it's like, and Peter's like, he's Spider-Man, so he doesn't move that much. He's like, and then Peter's like, whoa, okay. And he's like, wait a minute, hold on, let me do it again. I'm gonna do it again. And he's like, no, man, I get. And then Eddie is like, and throws like a really hard jab. And Peter is like he moves back. And he's like, okay, all right. He's like, do that. And Peter's like, do what? And then we see Eddie and Peter training. Like Eddie teaching Peter some moves. Eddie teaching Peter, how to fight. He's teaching him techniques, basically. Think of it like that. So this goes on for about an hour or two and stuff like that, teaching him techniques. And by the end of it, by the end of the session, whatever, Eddie is like, Eddie tells Peter to throw a punch. Peter throws a punch, and it's like a good punch. Like it's because when he's Spider-Man, he does the way of the spider, even though we don't know of that yet in the movies. But in terms of the comics, it's the way of the spider, it's his own martial art or whatever. And it's not a calculated, you know, punch. So we see Peter throwing a calculated punch, like, but it's still, you know, he's Spider-Man, so he has that spider strength, but you know, it's calculated. Like that, that's what he looks like, okay? And Eddie's like, oh, I'm a good teacher, and stuff like that, and Peter's like, all right, yeah. So then we cut, and it's now the time of the fight. Time to fight. And the announcer guys, it's like, it's not a big place that they're at, but it's a big, you know, it's a big, think of like kind of a warehouse, something like that. It's a dojo, and the ring is in the middle. It's a whole bunch of people filled around the ring. They're all there, and Peter's sitting there, and he looks to his right, and there's this woman, and she's sitting on a chair, and we just see the side of her head. We don't see her face. And Peter looks over, and she catches his eyes somehow, but he looks back up, and there's a guy. The announcer's like, all right, now introducing blah 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 blah. Some guy that's not important, about to get his butt beat by Eddie, comes in, and then we like, now here comes the Viper. And that's Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock is the Viper. Eddie walks in. He's looking all, you know, kind of, he's looking big, okay? He's looking like he about to beat some butt. And his music is, think of like this kind of smooth jazz-like thing, but it's with some drums in it, and some bongos, and something that sounds cool to the ear, but something that you could get like, oh yeah, like yeah, I'm about to beat some butt, something like that. So Eddie walks into the ring, and he's ready. He's ready. And then the ref checks everyone out. So, are you ready? Are you ready? And then they fight, and it's a fight. Okay. Now, how the fight goes is like this. Eddie is playing with this guy. He is playing. This is for the championship. Eddie is going against this guy to become the champion. Eddie is playing with this guy. He is like it's nothing. He is just, you know, like dodging everything. Everything. The guy trying to take Eddie down. It's not working. It's not working at all. And Eddie is showboating. And this is the first round. The guy gets one hit on Eddie. One hit. This is how it looks. It's like a straight up jab to the chin. Like, boom. And Eddie stumbles back. So this is what it looks like. It's like a boom. Eddie goes back like that, right? He goes back. When he's going back, he's to his side. So it's like this. So he's facing this way, like boom, and he goes back. But he turns the back, like going back, into a kick. He straight up kicks him in his chin. He kicks the guy. So it's like boom, and then he goes like, I can't kick that high, especially in these pants. But his leg goes up like that, kicks the guy straight in his chin, knocks him out. The guy goes straight down. I'm talking about like boom, and that is it. And Eddie wins. He becomes the champion. And everybody's ecstatic. Peter's like, yeah, the whole time he was rooting Eddie on the whole time. And they're like, the winner and the new New York champion is the Viper. And then Eddie puts the belt on, and he's like, yeah, I'm the champion, yeah. And he comes out, and Peter and him are like, yes, man, that was awesome. And then this girl, the same girl that Peter was looking at earlier, comes over, and Eddie's like, I wanted to introduce you. I never got the chance to introduce you to my lovely woman, my lovely lady. This is Felicia Hardy, and she is, in fact, the lady that Harry Osborn was looking at earlier and flirting with. Wow. I know, it's a strange West song. And Peter's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, Felicia. She's like, nice to meet you, Peter. And Eddie's like, she works at Oscorp, and he works at the Daily Bugle. And Peter's like, she works at Oscorp? You never told me. He's like, yeah, well, I'm telling you now. Peter's like, man, we need to celebrate, man. You just won. We need to celebrate. And Eddie's like, I got it. This is what you do. You call up Gwen. We do a double date thing. We do something. I don't know what we're going to do. We do something. Peter's like, all right, man. Yeah, that sounds cool. Peter grabs his phone, and we see his phone, and he has a news alert. And it says, Norman Osborn has died. Then his eyes get big, and he's like, well, what's going on? He's like, Norman Osborn died. And Eddie Brock's like, oh, that sucks. Felicia Hardy is like, Norman Osborn died? And he's like, yeah, that's what it says. that his time of death was, says 6 p.m. today. Ah, that's horrible. And then Eddie's like, I wonder if we can get any of our parents' research or stuff like that. And Peter looks at him, and he's like, yeah. And then Peter begins, his eye, like he does. We don't hear anything in his mind, but he looks at him like, yeah. Kind of like a, not like he's hiding something or not, but he just like, yeah. Because we already know that he has the symbiote, he already got that stuff, but Eddie doesn't know that. He's like, yeah, okay. Alright, yeah, maybe, hopefully we can. And then Peter, then he begins to think. And he begins like, it almost looking like he's looking at his phone, but he has a thinking face on, like, yeah. Now we cut into Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn sitting in his apartment where we first found him at. And he is crying. And it's not like a, like it's, like just similar to how he was in the car. Like his tears are just pouring down. And he's just irate. And then his phone begins to ring. All the way across the room. His phone begins to ring. He looks at his phone. And he looks he has this face like he's not present. You get what I'm saying? Like he's there, but he's not there. He looks like he's high. So he looks at the drug. He looks at the phone with this very sluggish face with just tears come down. And he gets up. He muscles himself up off the couch. And he staggers over to the phone. And he grabs it. And it's Donald Minkin. And he looks angry at it. And he answers it. He's like, why didn't you tell me? Donald Minkin's like, Harry, I need you to come to Oscorp right now. He's like, why didn't you tell me? You sent me to the hospital. My father wasn't there. I found out he was dead from the news. Dr. Donald Minkin says, there's a car outside waiting for you and people are about to knock at your door. You're going to Oscorp. When you get there, tell the person at the desk you need to go to suite 006. Why didn't you tell me? He's like, Harry, you're going to go to room 006. We'll speak when you get here. And Harry, he's like, what? And it's a hang up. They hang up on him. And then the door, there's someone knocking at the door. Doom, 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 doom. Mr. Osborn. Doom, doom, doom. And Harry looks up at the door. And he's still crying. His eyes are red, by the way. They're like really red. And he has his phone and he goes up to the door and he looks at the peephole. And it's two guys in suits. Look like Oscorp security. Look like the same guys from earlier. They are the same guys from earlier that he met in the elevator. And they open the door. He opens the door. He's like, Mr. Osborn, you're coming with us, right? He's like, Mr. Osborn, we're going to Oscorp. And he's like, what's going on? And he's like, come this way, sir. So then they get in the car, and then what's the Oscorp truck? It's like an Oscorp truck. They drive to Oscorp, and then we see Harry, and he's with the security, and they're walking to the desk, and he's like, they said I need to go to suite 006, and then he's like, okay, right this way, sir. So then the lady is directing Harry with the security to this room, and then it's this like, think of like this door, and it's like a metal door, and it has a little like window thing, like, you know, like in the freaking schools and stuff, like offices, like that. It looks like that. And they're like, right this way. And then Dr. Donald Minkin, he steps out the door and he says, Harry. And he's like, that'll be all, guys, just stay out here. He's like, Harry, are you all right? And then Harry looks at him and he's like, what's going on? And then Donald Minkin, it's just like this key code thing. He does this thing. It's not like a Amazing Spider-Man 1 code with that. Not like that. It's like something else, but it looks very futuristic. And he does the thing or whatever. And then he opens the door, opens, and they get in. They walk in. And Harry's like, what's going on? Why didn't you guys tell me about my father? And it's this freaking curtain. It's this curtain. And he rings the curtain out. He pulls the curtain out, and it's Norman sitting in the bed, and he's like, because I'm not dead, And we see Norman, he's sitting in the bed, and he's like looking very disgusting. Like he looks like he's dying, like his flesh is freaking fading away. It's all like just like that. And it's, why are you here? You should be at a hospital getting help. Why does the news say that you're dead? And they're like, because I will be dead soon if we don't get what we need. And Harry's like, what do we need? I need your help, Harry. What do you need me to do, Dad? I can help you. I can help you. Whatever you need, Dad, I'll get it for you. And he's like, Peter Parker. And Harry is like, who? Peter Parker. And then Norman, while he's in the bed, he does this thing, like he moves his hand up like that. And then this hologram pops up, like the screen pops up at the end of his bed. And it's a picture of Peter and him, like Peter at Oscorp. Picture of Peter at Oscorp. And he's like, and Harry's like, what about him? He's like, do you remember him, son? He's like, no. He's like, you guys were friends growing up. He's like, what? And then he kind of gives him a backstory of like they were friends when they were younger, but Harry had to go to boarding school, so they lost contact. And he's like, I need him. He's like, what do you need from him? He's like, I need his blood. And Harry's like, you need his blood? Why is his blood going to help? He's like, his blood is the antidote. He's like, what are you talking about, Dad? I don't understand. He's like, we need Peter Parker, Harry. Shut up and listen to me. He becomes a bit aggressive. He says, shut up and listen to me. We need Peter Parker's blood. Harry's like, how do I get it? Do I just ask him? He's like, and then Norman's like, that won't work. And Harry's like, why not? If I tell him that my father is dying, me and him used to be good friends, he'll understand, right? He's like, it won't work, Harry. You're going to need to get it from him in another way. And Harry's like, what way? Cut scene. The scene ends. And now we see Peter Parker and Eddie Brock and Felicia Hardy and Gwen Stacy and them all going to the movies or something. I don't know, they go into the movies or whatever. And they're walking into the movie, and while they're walking in, Peter, he has popcorn, and his phone begins to ring. He's like, hello, Mr. Jameson? And he's holding the popcorn. He's like, Parker, I wanted to know if you wanted to work for me. And Peter's like a full-time job? And Mr. Jameson's like, yeah, like a full-time job, something like that. And Peter's like, definitely, sir, yes, I would love it, yes, please, yes, this freelance thing is please, yes. And Mr. Jameson's like, okay, relax, Parker, relax, okay. I want you to know that I'm offering Eddie the same position. And Peter's like, okay, so we're gonna be going against each other? And Mr. Jameson's like, yeah, I want to see who can do the best, who can be the best. And Peter's like, okay, Mr. Jameson, okay, what do we need to do? And Mr. Jameson's like, you know what you need to do. I don't need to tell you everything. If you want to work for me, you need to have the individuality and show the initiative. And Peter's like, Mr. Jameson, I don't understand. What are you talking about? He's like, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm not saying anything else about it. Goodbye. And he hangs up. And Peter's like, I wonder if Eddie knows. That's what he thinks. I wonder if Eddie knows. And then he walks into the movie. And after the movie, once the movie's over, they're leaving. Gwen and Felicia are talking, and Eddie and Peter are talking while they're leaving. Peter is looking at Eddie, and Eddie's like, what's going on, Peter? You look like you all right? And Peter's like, yeah, no, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm cool. And he's like, all right, that's good. And Peter's like, hey Eddie, did Mr. Jameson call you? And Eddie's like, no. Why? What's going on? Did he call you? And Peter's like, no, I was just asking. Eddie's like, okay, all right. Then they leave, and then they're like outside, and they're in Times Square too. Gwen and Felicia, they turn to Eddie and Peter and like, this was so much fun, guys. They both say that almost at the same time. And Peter and Eddie are like, yeah, all right, yeah, I had fun too. Eddie looks at his watch. He's wearing a watch, and it's like 11 o'clock. And he's like, well, it's getting kind of late. Think I'm going to go home. And he looks at Felicia, and Felicia looks at Eddie. And then they're like, yeah, I think it's time that we call it a night, guys. Had a great time. Do you guys need help getting a cab or something? Do you want us to drive you guys home? And Gwen is like, no, we can take a cab. And he's like, all right, okay. Well then, Gwen, it was nice seeing you again. Peter, I'll holla at you later. And Peter and him, they've like brothers and stuff. And then Gwen says bye to Felicia and Eddie. Eddie and Felicia get into a car because Eddie has his own vehicle. Get into his car and they drive off. And Peter is like, why didn't you want to go for a ride? And she's like, because I wanted to go for a swing. And Peter looks at her, and then she looks at him, and then the next scene is just Spider-Man swinging and stuff, and her holding on to his back, and him swinging and everything, and swinging, and he's swinging so nice, and then it's like, so it's just so happy, and then the camera's zooming out, and we see Max Dillon, and he's like standing outside of his house looking up, and he's looking at Spider-Man, and he has this just face just like a... And that's it for part 4. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked part 4. Hope you liked it. I'm introducing so much. This is gonna be great. I've introduced so much. Hope you liked it. Let me know what you guys think so far in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the dislike button if you don't. I have not seen the movie yet. I've not seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's not out yet in America. It's not out yet in America. The day of me filming this, Wednesday, April something. It's not even a week before the movie comes out. The movie comes out about 2 or 3 weeks in the future. I said in the future. So... got some time for this movie. I've not seen it yet. This is my own story. This is my own story. This is not me telling the movie because I simply have not seen it yet. Okay? Let me know what you guys think so far in the comment section below. As always, thank you guys for watching. Share this video around with your friends. Share this video around with your friends. Listen, share this video around with your friends. Say, look at this guy. This guy made up his own Spider-Man story. His own Spider-Man movie. His own Spider-Man. Check it out. Like me on Facebook, Venom2Man. Follow me on Twitter, Venom2Million with the M-I-L-L-I-O-N. And then, guess what? Follow me on Instagram, Venom2Million. That's 6 zeros. 6 zeros. This Saturday is my Urban Nation Radio radio show on the web, on urbannationradio.com. Call in from anywhere around the world. As long as you live on Earth, you can call in. Please, guys, I want y'all all to listen this Saturday. Listen, call, and have some conversations live on the air. And for those of you wondering, how does it work? You go to urbannation.com. You hit that live now button. You hit that live now button at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central. And that, I think it is 1 p.m. for the Mountain Central Time, okay? So... you guys can tune in. If you don't live in America, like I said, you can still listen and still call in, still participate. How do you do that? You can Google a time converter. Google time zone converter, and then you will be able to find it out. Please, I want all of you guys to listen. I want all of you guys to call in. I want all of you guys to be a part of it. This is like it's like an even bigger conversation now, because now not only will it's not just typing. Now you can actually speak. We can speak to each other. So this Saturday, tune in to urbanationradio.com for Venom Time. Me. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'm Venom2Man saying comment, rate, subscribe. And everything is in the description below. Everything. Part 5, Part 6, description. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. I'm not playing. Check it out. Check. You hear me? Check it out. Okay? Check it out. All of that. Check it out. Yeah. Peace, guys. Peace out. Love you all. Peace. Peace.
Venom 2 million.